Hi, my name is Ehime Ora, the author of Ancestor Said, and this is how to set up an ancestral altar, a long form for YouTube because ain't nobody got time for that on Instagram. Why do we venerate the ancestors? We venerate the ancestors because they are the living extension to all the way to the Creator, to the beginning of time and stardust, as I like to call it. So when we venerate our ancestors and we pay respect to them, we're also kind of paying respect to the Ashe, the living spirit that lives within us, that connects us to the Creator. So it's almost as if we are acknowledging the Creator and also the power of our own ancestral lineage when we do so. So this is why it's important. And a variety of other things that we won't get into in just one YouTube video. But moving forward, you're gonna want to designate a space for an ancestral altar. We're outside right now, and you can have your ancestors outside if they would like to, but I recommend having them inside your home if that's what they would like as well, in the living space if possible. And the reason why we have an ancestral altar space, even though our ancestors' first home is actually within the body, in the Ifá spiritual practice, we actually believe that the ancestors live at our front toes. So whenever we're walking, wherever we're journeying, wherever we're going, they are. Wherever we're walking, so do our ancestors, and they journey with us wherever we go. So making sure that we have an actual ancestral altar space, a place for communion, for connection is incredibly important because just like you have a bed to go home to each night, our ancestors deserve a home for rest and rejuvenation as well. And also a place where you can lay your offerings, which we'll talk about that in a minute. So after you kind of designate a space, it can be anywhere. It could be a bookshelf, a window shelf, it could be, a tabletop if you're short and tight on space and seeking privacy, a suitcase, a trunk, a box, a trunk. It doesn't matter. It does not matter what you do. It just matters that you create a space and that is dedicated for that. Okay? And after you have a designated space, what a lot of people recommend is that you have a white cloth to cover it. Right now, my ancestors are bougie, so I have a very favorite African cloth that I actually like to dress over my African fabric. And you're gonna wanna remember to have like the 5 elements to your ancestral altar, such as water. And water is not like an actual drink offering, like how we can offer liquor offerings to our ancestors, but water on the altar space, and depending on where you go in the diaspora or on a continent, you will see no water, or you will see 9 waters, or 2 waters, or 1 water. It really depends, but water in of itself is a bridge to the divine. Spirits come from water. And this is acting like a telephone line to our ancestors. So it's important to make sure the water is as clear as possible, just so the communication line is streamlined and there's no fuzziness in communication. So keep it clear if you want your communication to be clear, okay? And here we have fire. The elements of fire, a candle, which represents the strength and the passion and the motivation for our ancestors so they can get to work on whatever we're praying for or asking for. And here we have the incense, the air, which makes things smell good, of course, but it also represents our own innate spirit. It represents communication as well. It also represents this innate connection to the ethers, all right, and the unseen realm. And here is the earth, which is the flower piece, but you can also have crystals or shells or rocks, whatever you prefer. And flowers or earth element in general is going to ground the altar space into the earth and create more of a as above, so below situation happening for your ancestral altar, okay? And moving forward, you want to think about protection for your ancestral altar. Our altar space is not just for us to commune and pray and to venerate and ask and all this stuff, but it's also for protection for us, for our home, and the way society is right now. A lot of us Black folk, we need it. So to be honest, make sure you put your machete on the altar space, okay? Put your machete on the altar space. Mine's a little bit dirty because I be using it, okay? But an ancestral altar needs a machete or a mirror or a mirror. A mirror is a great addition to add to your ancestral altar to bounce back anything that's being thrown at you. But a machete is for them to defend and utilize for your protection. okay? And also offerings, which is the most important part of the ancestral altar, fruit offerings, home-cooked meals, whatever, but it is important that we offer a mutual exchange for all of the energy our ancestors will provide and funnel into our passions and our desires. So making sure they are staying as fed as possible. You may want to do offerings at least once a week just to get that consistency going, but whatever they would like for you, I would like for you to listen to that. And how you can dispose of these offerings, which I get a lot, is you can ask them, but you can also throw it in the trash can. It's fine too. Or in the nature, in the forest, you can dispose of it at the base of a tree, at the four-way intersection, at the crossroads, you know, at the river, at the ocean, depending on the relationship with your ancestors. But regardless, you don't have to just keep, you know, fungi over your offerings forever. You can dispose of it, all right? And essentially, these are the basics. You can add pictures to your ancestral altar. Pictures can be pictures of your deceased relatives, those that you have, you know, those that you know, those that you didn't, those that you had connection to. It's up to you. If you don't really have a photos, but you have like writing or their names, you can actually write down their names and place it on the altar space as well. If you don't have either, don't fret. Okay, you can still place your ancestral altar and make the intention of connecting with your ancestors who will align you to the things that you need. Our ancestors have a particular way of just giving us things when we need it the most, of having things find us when we need it the most. So no worries if you don't have much on your altar space, it will grow just as you grow with your ancestors. It's kind of like making a friend for the first time. You start off as strangers and you move to acquaintances, and then the relationship deepens and grows. It's the same way with the ancestral altar. It takes time. You don't want to compare or contrast different ancestral journeys with somebody else. Stay focused on you and your people and how they speak to you, and make sure that you're at the ancestral altar consistently. It's not just a place where you come and pray, lay offerings, and go, but you may want to read a book, watch your favorite show, watching Bridgerton, I don't know, at the altar. You know what I'm talking about? Just something that can keep you communicating with your ancestors and keep you engaged with them that is outside of offerings, just because you don't want to have just a transactional relationship with your ancestors. Feel free to come to them as you are, and you don't need to pray in a Shakespearean way to them. You can talk, converse as you naturally do, and they will hear you. Your ancestors know you very well, and you don't need to become someone else for them. Okay? I'm very excited to see how your journey with your ancestors will go. And thank you so much for watching this video and enjoying my little makeshift ancestral altar space in the forest. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.